What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Welcome to Oh So Simplified, coming to you with a video here about the house hack strategy, the new investment strategy that I'm embarking on this year, hopefully next 3 to 6 months. So house hack, what is that? That basically is when you purchase multiple units and then you live in one and rent out the others. The way that I'm doing it, the way I'm looking to do it is with a duplex, so just renting out one while living in the other. And the main idea is that you rent out one and it will basically pay down the mortgage, or at least reduce the amount of mortgage that you're going to be paying down. Now, why do I look at this strategy as a better strategy than focusing on like stocks and things like that? Besides, a lot of the personal finance stuff I've talked about, just clearing your debt, clearing your monthly expenses, I look at this as like kind of the next main step, or not main step, but a way to kind of make a step towards, financial independence. That is not necessarily the traditional, just throw all your money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that, or nowadays Bitcoin, Forex. And the reason for this is pretty simple. It's because you can actually use leverage to get a better cash return, better cash flow, than if you were to purchase any of the previously mentioned. So generally with like stocks, which I understand a little bit more than Bitcoin and things like that, that's why I feel like the other ones are Bitcoin, Forex, things like that. I look at that as just more of a guess. Now stocks, there is a tendency for you to get a specific return, especially if you invest in index funds. But the only problem is you kind of need to have all of the money outright to actually get any of those returns. That's why I think it's funny when you hear all these people talking about Bitcoin. It's like you don't even have enough money to really make any money, so to speak, for the most part, unless you get, once again, super lucky. You put it on black and black hit. But from like a stock perspective, so we can look at a $300,000 investment. Now, if that is a house, especially if it's a multi-unit and you're going to live in one, you can actually use an FHA loan. All you would have to do to get in on that investment is to put down 5% of 300,000, which is about $15,000. Now, if you wanted to get the return of $300,000 in the stock market, let's say that it's at 10%, you will get $30,000 that year, but you had to have all $30,000. If you still use the same down payment that you're using before, the $15,000 at 10%, you would get $1,500 for the year. Now, where I live, what I'm looking for is kind of 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 2 different units. It's very specific, garage, backyard, detached garage with the driveway, with on-street parking. Those are like very specific criteria I'm looking for and kind of how I'm sifting through the deals. But long story short, where I live, generally a 2-bedroom house would cost anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500. And when I've kind of calculated the price of what the mortgage would be for the things that I'm purchasing, it's around $3,000 a month. So, basically I would pay less to live there, own it, have a yard, have more space, which I think is a big reason why, especially with COVID, to move into something like this. I would be paying less to live there than if I was renting, where the last place I was renting in Brooklyn, which obviously is a very expensive market, was $1,500 a month for basically a fucking closet. I lived in a studio, it was small as hell, and that was $1,500. It was $1,570 by the time I left. Probably would move up again at $1,600. That would be $19,200 a year to live there. So for just $15,000 up front, you could get a lot more, once again. And you're kind of leveraging $300,000. So let's say that you didn't live in the unit. A year from now, you move out. Now you're actually getting $5,000, $4,000 to $5,000 a month on returns, where you're only getting $1,500 of returns, comparably to getting 10% in the stock market for the same investment. So that's really where I look at this as, the most beneficial to getting started. And my main goal, just so you guys can kind of get an idea, is I am trying to use rental properties as my main retirement vehicle, where, I purchase a few properties, and then once I purchase them using leverage, I'm actually going to pay them down. If you read like the BRRRR strategy and other strategies to keep going, you don't ever have to pay them down. You can kind of keep playing the game, and as long as you're cash flowing, you should be fine. But I do think there's a peace of mind of paying it down, but I digress. So my main thing is that, you know, that 4,000 to 5,000 I could make on those 2 units. If I could get 6 units, making $2,000, that's $12,000 a month in rent. And if you pay property managers, say it costs $2,000 a month, that still is $120,000 a year without doing anything, that you can probably accumulate from like a 7 to 10 year period, as long as you can keep saving up like $20,000 a year or something to that effect, which is a decent amount of money, but you got to make sacrifices to be where you want to be. So I mean, really the main point of this video was just to kind of introduce that to anybody that's kind of thinking about these things. I know a lot of stuff is coming up, you know, in the media, especially social media, you know, all talking about stocks with GameStop, with Bitcoin and things rising and falling and things like that. And I mean, that's kind of what this whole channel is all about. Is I've read a lot of these books. I've been paying attention to YouTube, kind of caught up in this self-development space for a long time, and financial freedom space for like a long time, where I've kind of assessed everything. I've purchased certain things. I've tried to do Forex. I've tried to kind of get into like reselling and things like that. And I look at the rental real estate, especially for somebody that doesn't have like especially if somebody wants to keep a job. If you want to keep a job, I think that's the best, rental real estate. I also think creating a business is the next thing. I might make that as my next video when it's on the money topic. But this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to keep you guys posted for the next 3 to 6 months. That's when I'm looking to really pull the trigger on this. Hopefully real estate crashes kind of helps me out with it. But I'm kind of getting very serious into looking at it. And as I make progress, I will kind of keep you guys posted and bring you kind of along for the trip. And in terms of the business, you guys can already see it. This is what the business that I'm trying to create, because I think that that's the other vehicle for financial freedom. And the last thing I'll lay on that is that, you know, things like those completely passive investments, like stock market and things like that, to kind of get started, you have to build up a certain level of nest egg. And after saving the amount of money that I've saved, where I know I can make a down payment, it's starting to really come real. That one, I have a little bit of money, and then 2, I have a little bit of money, where this might have been a lot 2 or 3 years ago to me. That like, to make a play, you need to be active in certain ways. And that's why with this house hack, it's like, I'm not talking about hiring a property management company. I'm going to do all the work that I can do. Anything that I can do, I'm going to devote my time to that, because you have to be active in the beginning. There's no way to just like put your money in something unless you get super lucky for it to just like exponentially multiply. And exponentially is the key word. Like, if you don't have $100,000, it's very hard for any return to be worth your while in a year. Like, even $100,000, 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. You cannot live on $10,000. I mean, if you can get 100% return on $100,000, that'd be great. But like, until you get to these places where the investment you have is at a certain level that, you know, 10% can be a good chunk, you have to be active. The whole goal is to be more active, and it might have to be, you know, taking deals in real estate, and it might also have to be creating a business. This one's more about real estate. Very easy way to get started is doing the house hack. That's definitely the way I want to get started. I know I've alluded to it in previous videos, so wanted to put it in here. That's it for this video. If you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. If you fuck with the vibe, welcome to the tribe, and until next time, you know what it is. Peace.